Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Heather. So today I decided that I wanted to copy dye some papers, and I thought I would bring you guys along. I thought maybe, if you're new or if you're kind of afraid to start coffee dyeing, this would help. So this is the first time I've used this technique to coffee dye, and I got the idea because a couple years ago my mom and I went to our local library. They were having a class, and it was actually coffee drawing, which was really cool. So you just use the instant ground coffee and water, and depending on how much coffee you put in it is dependent upon how dark your paper is going to be. So more coffee is going to be more dark, and less coffee is going to be less dark. And then you just need a paintbrush, and like here I'm kind of swirling it. So you can do that. You can paint straight up and down regular strokes. You can kind of dab it. And then when it dries, as long as, it doesn't smudge or whatever, you'll get that effect. And during this process, I even used some stencils, and I laid it across and kind of dabbed it on to do like the effect on this while I was coffee dyeing. But then when they were drying, I had them all laid out on my table. And I even put some of the stencils just like right over top of the paper, and I let them sit on there until they were completely dried, and it turned out really good also. So there's a ton of different ways that you can do it. And then I also coffee dyed some small doilies. Well, I guess I had a couple different sizes of doilies, and once I did that, I put those over top kind of haphazardly all stacked up, and the design actually went through on some of the paper also. Now on one of the pages that's coming up here, I actually went ahead and laid the doily down right on top of it before I coffee dyed, and then I left it until it dried. And the one, it turned out really cool. The other one, it kind of messed up a little bit, but I just went back over and added some more coffee dye to it, so it just kind of looks like a big splotch. And I like the fact that it's not all solid. That's why I kind of like the dabbing effect. It kind of gives it like a marbled look, or like darker here and lighter here. So I think it turned out really good. And then the cool thing about this wax paper is it actually picked up the coffee dye also, and then it also picked up some of the ink bleed that I got from some of my printed pages. So that was neat. I have that in my stash also that I can use to cut up for different pieces to put in the journal, and it'll give it like a different texture as well. So this is where I put the doily down first, and you'll see at the end, the first doily that I did, it worked out really well. The second one, it kind of didn't work as well, but that's okay because it's unique and it's different. And I just think this whole process is so much fun, and it turned out so good. And I like the fact that this technique here, it doesn't saturate your paper. So if you don't want to put your paper in the oven, or if you can't do your coffee dyeing outside, this doesn't take very long to dry. I think from start to finish it was like a couple hours, and I just had it sitting on my kitchen table, and I didn't have the air conditioner on or anything because it kept blowing my papers around. So I only had the ceiling fan going, which it's not directly over our kitchen table, so that it didn't help one way or another to speed it up for drying or not. So like a couple hours, and I had a whole stack of coffee dye paper, and I didn't have to worry about burning the paper in my oven or it blowing way outside or anything else. Now towards the end of this process, I did go ahead and get a cookie sheet, just one of my old nasty cookie sheets, and I dumped some extra coffee grounds in it, added some extra water, kind of swirled it around a little bit with my hands, and then I did just like dip the paper in, but it wasn't very deep, like it was just kind of surface level on the cookie sheet. So I kind of just dipped it in, flipped it over, pulled it through, and then I let it drain, and I set it off to the side. So I mean, even that worked, and it was still like just a couple hours, and it was dry. And I took like small stacks of paper, or like I did like a small stack of doilies or something like that, and I kind of just kept flipping it until it was kind of colored, and then I took it off and set it off to the side. So it doesn't have to be like a big elaborate process. I think someday I really would like to try doing it in the oven like everybody does. You know, you soak it in the pan for hours and then you dry it in the oven or whatever. I think that would be cool because, again, that's just a different technique and a different effect. And I'm sure the texture of the paper is a little bit different. But for me personally, I really like the way this turned out. And I think, I think it's going to work because it's something quick and easy, and it's very accessible and easy to do as opposed to, putting it in the oven and have to stand there and watch it and hope that it doesn't, singe the paper or something. So I really do like this technique. So like you see here, I did some envelopes. I even did some like the card bases that you get right here. So I just laid it out flat and did that. Now the orange, it kind of gave it just a little bit different look. It doesn't really do a whole lot. But then the other side was white, so now it's coffee dyed. And I can use it, like in my signature or something like that. And then here's where I use the stencils. Now these stencils, they're just from my local Dollar Tree, which they're supposed to be sticky and you can use them for like wood projects or home decor stuff. And I did that once or twice, but I got a lot of bleed when I was doing it on wood, so I just kind of like to craft with these and use it with like maybe ink or chalk or something and not like actual paint. But for this project, it actually worked really, really well, and I was really impressed with how they turned out. So on here you can see it's kind of wet and gloppy and not super defined, but then at the end, like I said, I kind of laid it over top and let it dry with it, and I actually think that turned out better. So I have like 2 different sizes of white doilies that I did, and then I also have some of these orange pumpkin doilies that I went ahead and did also. I want to do another fall project. My fall folio should have been up already, so you guys probably saw that one. That was some of the paper that I made, and then I was working on another paper set which I just finished, so hopefully I can come on and show you guys that. And I picked all these papers out with the thought and the idea of maybe I could use those in the journal that I want to make with the fall pages, because there are a lot of like bright fun fall colors, a lot of little woodland creatures, some mushrooms, some pumpkins, that kind of stuff. So I think these will work really, really well. And then just some book page, which these all came out of like nature books or wildlife books or stuff like that. Maybe some dictionary, I can't remember, but I think these all turned out really, really well. Now these were already kind of like yellowed a little bit, so now they kind of just have more of like a crinkly effect, and they're just a little bit darker now, which I really like the texture of them. I think they'll work really well to put with other ephemera, or kind of sew them into the signature or things like that. So yeah, I mean, I ended up with a really nice stack of stuff to use. And at the end of this video, I do a real quick flip through. I even got some like the tickets for like carnivals and stuff. I even got that at the Dollar Tree, and I just did like 5 strips of tickets or something, and those turned out really cool also, so I can kind of stamp on those and see what we can make of those as well. Now I did towards the beginning of the process, I did kind of blow dry a little bit to make for sure that it was actually going to work. So that's just what I'm doing here. I have this envelope which turned out super cool, and it's nice and crinkly now. I love the effect of it. And this is just a regular like greeting card envelope, and I did some envelopes that you get from like your junk mail, and then also just regular like letter size envelopes that you can buy in the boxes. So I have a wide variety of stuff that I coffee dyed. I even did some like index cards and things. And the cool thing about some of this stuff, once I laid it out on the paper to dry, like some of the pages that had color to it, like the ones that I printed, they actually bled through onto the back, so you have like a ghosted effect, which I think is really, really cool, because then you have your main image on the one side, and then on the other side you kind of see some of the image, so the other side is, you know, starting to already be decorated, and I think it'll look really cool in a journal. And then you know, from it laying across certain things or certain things laying on top of it, some of the paper or some of the color, the ink, also actually bled through onto some of the other pages. So like on some of my regular copy paper, I have like splotches of different colors, like reds and greens. And then I did some index cards, and those actually have some like different colors on that as well. So I think it turned out really, really cool. And, you know, if I did it again, I would definitely stack the stuff up kind of like I did with this, because, you know, then I got some ink bleed effect, and I also got some design from like the different doilies and things like that. That was kind of like sitting around the thing or around the pages, and I think it turned out really, really cool. All right, so here's where I am done, and I'm just doing the flip through to show you guys how it came out. So I have this little stack of doilies, and that's the one where I just took the whole stack and put it down in the water, and I kind of flipped it around a couple of times, and they turned out really well. Now this one, I kind of had an accident with the one. It kind of tore a little bit, but that's okay. It'll all work out. And then here's some more doilies. I did a lot. I just kind of just tossed them in there, and, you know, they turned out really, really well. Now here's the tickets. So that should be fun to try and play with as well. I think I did like 4 or 5 of those. And then here's some of the index cards that I did. And here's some of the cute little book pages, which turned out super cute. Yeah, I really like those. And then some of the book page, which you can see, like, there's some different splatters on it. So it's not just all solid, it's just kind of like, you know, splattered all over the place. Now here's where I put the doily down. As you can see, some of it turned out really good and the other side didn't, so I just kind of brushed over it. The back is nice and splattered. And then, yeah, I think these turned out really, really cool. There's another envelope. And then coming up, here's the page that I printed, and then you'll see the ghosting on the back, which I actually think turned out super cool. I actually really, really like it. So it'll come out red, and then you'll see, like, you know, the butterfly and the flowers and a little bit of the tree. So I thought that was cool. And then you can see in this one, this is the wax paper. So I have 2 pages that, or 2 long strips that kind of turned out like that. So that'll be really fun to work with. You can see lots of reds and greens and the brown, and then there's like splotches all over the place. So that's fun. Here's the envelopes that I did. And again, there's just different like designs and splotches, and, you know, this definitely not solid. Now here's where you see some of the color, like the ink color, you know, where it had ran, and I think it turned out really, really cool. Here's a big envelope, and then that's another one that kind of messed up, but that's okay, we'll fix it. This doily that come up is super cool. I love the way it turned out. It's very marbled, and it was just sitting there, just the way the paper dried with the coffee on it. So yeah, I think it all turned out really, really cool. Here's some more doilies because I love doilies. This one had like the stencil on it, and I kind of just laid it across the thing when it dried, and I think it turned out really cool. This one is actually underneath of it, so this is actually a ghost effect of it. And then some bleed on that, and some more just little pieces. And now this is another one where I actually just put the stencil on it, and it bled through to the other side, so now they're double-sided. I love this page. I think this is so cool how it has like the big drops of different colors and the coffee on it. I think it turned out really neat. And just some more coffee dyed paper. And yeah, so I hope you guys found this video helpful. And if you are curious to see what I make with these papers, definitely stay tuned. And I will hopefully in the next couple of days be posting, you know, at least the start of the video for my new fall journal. I'll do a flip through of the different pages. There's 10 pages. There's, I think, 4 ephemera pages, and then 4 or 5. Well, I know it's 10 pages anyways. There's some background pages and some ephemera pages, and I even did some with like pockets and little postcards and things like that. So that should be fun. Hopefully I can use a lot of this paper in that journal, and I will take you guys along for the ride. I think this page turned out super cool. Like, a lot of the ink came off of it, but it blended so cool. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and hope you tune in for some more. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye guys.